What if I told you that building real wealth doesn't take a lifetime? Most people imagine they'll grind away for 40 years, stash some money in retirement accounts, and maybe, just maybe, retire comfortably. But history shows a different story. Some people compress decades of wealth creation into just a few short years. Not because they're luckier or smarter, but because they see money differently. The truth is, most of us are conditioned to think about money like factory workers in the night. We're told, trade your hours for a paycheck, save diligently, avoid risk, and one day the system will reward you. But the system wasn't built to make you wealthy. It was built to keep you dependable. Wealthy people, billionaires, millionaires, even those who simply achieve financial freedom early, flip this script. They don't think about how to make money. They think about how to make money grow. Here's a story. A friend of mine worked as a software engineer. Great salary, respected role, solid benefits, but he was stuck. Every raise felt like progress, but the lifestyle upgrades, new car, better apartment, dinners out, soaked up the difference. His wealth was treading water. Then he discovered a high-income skill outside his day job, building small AI automation tools for local businesses. Within a year, the side projects outpaced his salary. Within 3, he quit his job, built a small company, and reinvested profits into assets that worked while he slept. Today, he earns more from his investments than he ever did from his coding job. He didn't become Elon Musk. He didn't invent rockets. He just stopped thinking like an employee. That's the shift. Wealth doesn't scale by working harder. It scales by compounding effort, skills, and assets. And this doesn't require billionaire status to start. It requires a change in how you approach your next 5 years. So let's talk about that formula. People who grow their wealth rapidly follow a surprisingly simple structure. They master 1 or 2 rare skills that aren't tied to hours worked. They build a system, a business, a product, or a platform that keeps paying them even when they're not there. And then they take those profits and place them into assets that keep compounding. Sounds neat and tidy, but in practice, it's messy, filled with trial and error. Still, that's the only path anyone has ever taken to scale quickly. Take Jeff Bezos. Amazon didn't start as the giant it is today. It started as a simple online bookstore, but the model was scalable. Once the system worked for books, it worked for everything else. Bezos reinvested, stacked assets, and let compounding take over. The lesson isn't start the next Amazon. It's start small, but start with something that can scale. Think of wealth as 3 gears in a machine. First, the skill gear. It's what generates your initial cash flow. Coding, copywriting, design, trading, sales, whatever you can do that creates high value. Second, the business gear. You build something that multiplies that skill. A product, a course, a service, with systems. Third, the asset gear. Real estate, index funds, dividend stocks, or even acquiring parts of other businesses. When all 3 gears turn together, momentum builds fast. And because of compounding, the speed surprises you. That's why Warren Buffett made most of his money after the age of 50, not because he got smarter, but because compounding finally kicked in after decades of momentum. The irony is that most people understand compounding in theory, but never give it time to work in practice. They pull money out of investments too soon, chase the next trend, or stay in jobs where their time is capped. Compounding is boring in the beginning. It looks like nothing is happening, but years later, you look back and realize the snowball turned into an avalanche. Now you might wonder, what are the fastest paths today? The answer is less about magic opportunities and more about models that scale in the current world. E-commerce, digital platforms, real estate, AI-powered businesses. These aren't shortcuts, they're multipliers. And the people who learn to ride them early capture the biggest upside. If you want to understand how to build wealth in today's world, you need to see the business models as vehicles. Some are bicycles, slow but steady. Some are sports cars, fast but risky. And a few are freight trains, heavy and unstoppable once they get going. Choosing the right vehicle matters as much as how hard you press the pedal. The first vehicle is digital commerce. Think of online stores, drop shipping, or private labeling. The barrier to entry is low. You don't need a warehouse full of products anymore. You can test ideas with minimal upfront cost. But the secret isn't just selling products, it's building a brand. Anyone can sell a gadget online, but only those who create trust and repeat buyers can turn that into lasting wealth. Look at the rise of niche brands that focus on one thing: a water bottle, a skincare line, or a fitness accessory. Their strength isn't in the product, it's in the story and the system. The second vehicle is real estate. Not the glamorous skyscrapers you see in movies, but ordinary properties that people live in every day. A simple apartment bought wisely and rented out creates cash flow that repeats month after month. Add renovations or flips, and you create chunks of capital to reinvest. This is how many quiet millionaires are built. It's slower than the internet game, but it's predictable. And when combined with digital income streams, it gives stability to your portfolio. The third vehicle is digital products. Courses, books, apps, or memberships. These are things you build once and sell many times. The work is upfront. The rewards are long-term. A small course that sells for years can become a financial foundation. An app that solves one small but annoying problem can grow into a company. Digital products scale without requiring more of your time, which makes them one of the purest forms of freedom. The fourth vehicle is service-based businesses with automation. This is where skills like sales, marketing, and coding shine. You start with your skill, then build a team or system around it. A copywriter builds an agency. A developer creates tools for clients. The goal is to move from doing the work yourself to creating systems that run without you. This transition is hard, but once you make it, your earning potential multiplies. The fifth vehicle is AI-driven businesses. This isn't science fiction. Right now, small companies are using AI tools to do what only big corporations could do 10 years ago. Customer support, content creation, market analysis, all automated. Those who understand how to combine AI with human creativity are building businesses with incredible speed. Think of it as electricity in the early 1900s. The people who wired factories for electricity weren't just techies. They were pioneers of an entirely new economy. But here's the truth. The vehicle you pick doesn't matter if you don't fuel it with action. Most people get stuck at the starting line. They read, watch, learn, and plan. But wealth only compounds when money is in motion. The key is to start small, start imperfect, but start moving. Because once your system is rolling, you can adjust and refine. A car parked in the driveway never wins a race. This brings us to the 5-year roadmap. Imagine compressing the next 4 decades of financial struggle into 5 intentional years. It's possible if you treat each year as a strategic phase. Year 1 is about skill. Pick one high-value skill and commit. Learn sales, copywriting, data analysis, coding, or even real estate negotiation. The skill is your engine. Without it, you have nothing to fuel your business. Year 2 is about building. Take the skill and create a system around it. This might mean starting an online store, creating a digital product, or launching a small agency. The key isn't perfection. It's creating a machine that can run without every hour of your time. Year 3 is about reinvestment. The profits from year 2 should not be spent on lifestyle. They should be poured back into the system, ads, better tools, more people, or new product lines. This is the hardest phase because your income grows, but your temptation to spend grows too. Discipline here is the difference between short-term success and long-term freedom. Year 4 is about assets. You start to convert active income into passive income, buy your first rental property, build a stock portfolio, acquire part of another business. This is where compounding begins to work in your favor. Year 5 is about scale. By now, your systems, skills, and assets are feeding each other. You're no longer chasing money. Money is chasing you. This doesn't mean you're a billionaire, but it does mean you're financially unshackled, with options that most people only dream about. Shall I move straight into part 3, where I'll expand on the psychological traps that stop people from following this roadmap and show how to overcome them with practical shifts? The hardest part of this journey is not the strategy. The roadmap is simple. The challenge is the psychology. Wealth is less about math and more about mindset. Most people fail not because the path is too complicated, but because their beliefs sabotage them before compounding has a chance to work. One common trap is the paycheck mentality. If you've been conditioned to believe that security comes from a steady paycheck, it feels reckless to take a risk. You tell yourself, I'll start once I have more savings, or maybe next year when things calm down, but time is the one asset you can't buy back. Delaying means compounding works against you instead of for you. Another trap is lifestyle inflation. The moment income rises, expenses rise too. That promotion at work or the first profitable month in a side business suddenly disappears into a nicer apartment, a new phone, or endless subscriptions. The cycle feels harmless, but it silently steals your compounding fuel. Wealth builders make a different choice. They keep lifestyle simple until assets can pay for upgrades without touching the engine. Fear of loss is another killer. Imagine planting a tree and digging it up every week to check the roots. That's how many people treat investments. They panic at the first dip and sell before growth appears. But every market dip in history has been followed by recovery. The people who stay planted reap the harvest. Comparison is just as destructive. You see someone else succeed faster and assume you're failing, but every wealth story has invisible chapters of failure and doubt. Jeff Bezos was laughed at for selling books online. Elon Musk nearly went bankrupt before Tesla became profitable. Compounding doesn't look glamorous in the beginning. It looks slow, boring, and uncertain. Staying consistent when no one is watching is the secret. There's also the myth of talent. People assume billionaires are geniuses with superhuman abilities. The truth is far less dramatic. Most of them simply mastered boring habits, discipline with money, patience with growth, and relentless learning. Wealth rewards consistency more than brilliance. A mediocre idea, executed daily for years, beats a brilliant idea abandoned after a month. To break free from these traps, you need simple psychological shifts. Stop thinking like an employee. Start thinking like an investor. See every dollar as a seed. Instead of asking, "What can I buy with this?" ask, "What can this grow into?" Stop tying identity to income and tie it to assets. A high salary may look impressive, but assets create freedom. Another shift is to fall in love with the process, not the outcome. If your only goal is a number in the bank, you'll burn out. But if you enjoy building systems, learning skills, and watching small wins stack, the number becomes inevitable. The process is what keeps you moving when results are slow. One more shift is reframing failure. Every wealthy person has stories of deals that collapsed, products that didn't sell, or ventures that looked foolish. Failure is not the opposite of wealth. It is the tuition you pay for mastery. Once you see it that way, setbacks become investments in your own education. The beauty of this mindset is that it compounds just like money. The more you train yourself to see opportunities instead of risks, to value patience over speed, and to stay consistent when others quit, the more natural wealth building becomes. You stop fighting against your own psychology and start working with it. Building wealth over 5 years isn't just about the big moves. It's about the small daily habits that create momentum. Big strategies only work when they're powered by tiny, consistent actions. The first habit is tracking cash flow. Most people avoid looking at their money because it feels uncomfortable, but awareness is power. Write down or use a simple app to track what comes in and what goes out. This isn't about restriction, it's about clarity. You can't grow what you don't measure. The second habit is reinvesting a fixed percentage. Set a rule that a portion of every dollar you earn goes into growth, whether that's education, your business, or your assets. Make it automatic, not negotiable. Wealthy people treat reinvestment like brushing their teeth. Non-negotiable, daily, and simple. The third habit is saying no. Every yes to distractions, purchases, or obligations is a no to your long-term plan. Learning to decline things gracefully is one of the most underrated skills in finance. You don't need to cut everything out of your life, but you do need to guard your time and money like they matter, because they do. The fourth habit is daily learning. Even 10 minutes a day compounds into thousands of hours over years. Read about money, listen to people who've built systems, study case studies, and question what you thought you knew. Every bit of knowledge makes you harder to fool and quicker to act on opportunities. The fifth habit is building networks. Wealth rarely grows in isolation. People are the bridges to opportunities. Reach out, collaborate, ask questions, and share value. A single conversation can open doors that years of solo effort cannot. Another habit is practicing patience. In an age where everything feels instant, food, entertainment, information, wealth still takes time. Set long timelines for your plans, even while acting daily. Patience doesn't mean sitting still. It means keeping your hands on the wheel without swerving every time the road gets bumpy. And finally, gratitude. It may sound soft compared to talk of billionaires and assets, but gratitude keeps you grounded. Without it, you'll forever chase more without appreciating progress. Wealth without gratitude becomes emptiness disguised as success. Gratitude makes the process meaningful. When you stack these habits, you begin to notice a shift. Your days stop feeling random. They feel like steps on a staircase. Each action connects to the next. Each year builds on the last. By the time 5 years pass, you don't just have more money. You have a foundation, a system, and a mindset that can't be taken away. This is how ordinary people create extraordinary outcomes. Not with luck, but with simple, consistent actions done long enough to compound. 5 years from now will arrive whether you prepare for it or not. The difference is whether you arrive at that moment with regret or with freedom. Most people will keep doing what they've always done, trading hours for dollars, spending more as they earn more, and wondering why life feels like a treadmill. A small group will take the same 5 years and build systems that change their entire trajectory. The choice isn't about genius or luck. It's about discipline, perspective, and the courage to act when it feels uncomfortable. Wealth is not a secret code reserved for a chosen few. It's a pattern repeated across time. Build skills, create systems, reinvest profits, and let assets compound. Anyone can step onto this path. Few stay long enough to see the avalanche build. Imagine yourself 5 years from today. Picture a life where your income doesn't depend on alarms, bosses, or endless commutes, where assets cover your bills before you even get out of bed, where choices are no longer dictated by money but by meaning. That picture is closer than it seems if you start now and refuse to stop. The world doesn't reward those who only dream, it rewards those who act. One small step today creates momentum tomorrow. One disciplined decision compounds into freedom. If you've been waiting for the perfect moment, it won't come. The only perfect moment is the one you create by moving forward. Share this message with someone you care about. They might need the reminder that freedom is possible. Subscribe for more lessons that can guide your journey. Stay consistent, stay patient, and remember, the next 5 years are going to pass anyway. Make them count. I wish you luck on your own path to wealth and freedom. Remember, you don't have to do it alone. Feel free to explore the other videos on this channel for more ideas and strategies. Take care, stay focused, and I'll see you in the next video.